The year is 1922. For 6 long seasons, British archaeologist Howard Carter had searched the Valley of the Kings, the burial ground of Egypt's mightiest pharaohs. He sought the tomb of a forgotten king, Tutankhamun. His patron, Lord Carnarvon, had grown weary. The funds were running dry. This was to be the final season. The heat was relentless, the pressure immense, yet Carter felt an unshakable conviction that the boy king's secret lay hidden, waiting for its grand revelation beneath the desert's shifting sands. On November 4th, the work began anew near the tomb of Ramesses VI. The air was thick with dust and disappointment. But then, a humble water boy, or perhaps one of the tireless Egyptian workmen, stumbled upon something extraordinary, a carved limestone step. Carter's heart must have pounded. He immediately ordered the complete clearance of the surrounding debris. What they unearthed was not a mere marker, but the top of a sunken staircase leading deep into the bedrock of the valley. For 2 days, the team worked feverishly. Step by step, the staircase was revealed, leading down 16 flights. At the bottom, they found it, a plastered doorway, still sealed. On the plaster, ancient hieroglyphic seals of the royal necropolis were visible. This was a king's tomb, though unmarked by any name. Carter cautiously made a small opening. Inside, the corridor was filled with rubble, the clear sign of a tunnel made by ancient robbers, then meticulously refilled by royal restorers. Knowing the gravity of the find, Carter had the staircase refilled and sent a telegram to Lord Carnarvon in England. At last have made wonderful discovery in valley, a magnificent tomb with seals intact. Recovered same pending your arrival. Congratulations. The wait was agonizing. For 3 weeks, Carter stood guard, the world's greatest secret protected only by a thin layer of sand. The tension in the Valley of the Kings was palpable, anticipating the arrival of the financial backer and the final glorious breakthrough. On November 26, 1922, with Carnarvon, his daughter Lady Evelyn, and an anxious few standing by, Carter made the decisive breach. They reached a second sealed door. Drilling a small hole, Carter lit a candle, the flickering flame cutting through the 3,000-year darkness. The silence was absolute. Lord Carnarvon, unable to bear the suspense, finally asked, "Can you see anything?" The immortal reply, delivered in a whisper that echoed across history, was, "Yes, wonderful things." Carter described the first room, the antechamber, as an unimaginable chaos of gold. It was a dizzying array of gilded furniture, dismantled chariots, alabaster vessels, and magnificent statues of guardians standing sentinel. The gold reflected the candle's flame, creating a mesmerizing, unreal glow. It was instantly clear that this was no ordinary burial. The sheer volume of objects testified to the wealth and artistry of the 18th dynasty. The team was overwhelmed by the task of cataloging this historical jackpot. Among the treasures were 4 gilded chariots, disassembled and laid out, ready for the king's use in the afterlife. Their wheels and frames were exquisitely decorated, telling stories of King Tut as a hunter and warrior. These vehicles offer a rare glimpse into the practical and ceremonial life of a new kingdom pharaoh. The craftsmanship was stunning, showcasing the unparalleled skill of the royal Egyptian artisans, proving that even everyday items were transformed into magnificent works of art. The burial chamber, finally accessed later, contained 4 massive, nested wooden shrines, all gilded and inlaid with blue faience. They completely filled the room, leaving barely 2 feet of space on each side. Each shrine was protected by a magnificent dedication to the gods. Dismantling them was a monumental, months-long effort. It was a deliberate, layered display of protection, a testament to the ancient belief that the pharaoh must reach the afterlife undisturbed and fully provisioned. Inside the final shrine, a magnificent quartzite sarcophagus held the royal mummy. Within the sarcophagus were 3 nested coffins, each more splendid than the last. The innermost coffin, made of 242 pounds of solid gold, remains the most breathtaking piece of Egyptian funerary art ever recovered. Its polished surface, inlaid with lapis lazuli and colored glass, shone with an eternal brilliance, an astonishing investment for a king who ruled for so brief a time. Resting over the king's head and shoulders was the iconic death mask. Made of solid gold and weighing over 22 pounds, it depicts the serene, youthful face of Tutankhamun. The mask is adorned with the symbols of the pharaoh, the Nemes headdress, the cobra, uraeus, and the vulture. It is not merely a portrait, but a divine image, meant to ensure the king's resurrection. It became the face of ancient Egypt for the entire modern world, instantly recognizable across all cultures and continents. The young pharaoh was born during one of the most tumultuous periods in Egyptian history, the late 18th dynasty. His father was the revolutionary King Akhenaten, who abandoned the old gods and established a monotheistic worship of the sun disk, Aten. Tutankhamun's birth name, Tutankhaten, reflected this new faith. The identity of his mother remains a subject of intense debate, but DNA evidence suggests she was his father's sister, highlighting the royal practice of incest. Tutankhamun ascended the throne around the age of 9, likely guided by powerful regents, including the elderly Vizier I and the General Horemheb. His greatest achievement was reversing his father's religious revolution. Renaming himself Tutankhamun, living image of Amun, he restored the worship of the old gods, particularly Amun, and moved the capital back to Thebes. This act of restoration secured his place in history, though later pharaohs attempted to erase him. His short reign, lasting only a decade, was a period of transition and political maneuvering. The great temples of Amun were reopened, their priests reinstated, and the vast bureaucracy reorganized. The famed Restoration Stela details these repairs, proclaiming a return to divine order after the chaos of Akhenaten. However, the true power likely rested with his older advisors, who steered the young king back to Egypt's traditional path, ensuring stability in the realm. Modern science, utilizing CT scans and DNA analysis, has revealed a far more human story than the divine imagery suggests. Tutankhamun was physically frail. He suffered from a club foot, a severe limp, and was buried with over 130 walking sticks. His DNA revealed a host of genetic weaknesses, likely exacerbated by the intermarriage of his parents. He was also afflicted with the parasite that causes malaria. The young king was constantly struggling against chronic illness. At only 19, Tutankhamun died suddenly. For decades, the cause was debated. Was it murder by a political rival like I or Horemheb? Was it a blow to the head? The CT scans provided new evidence, a severe fracture to his left leg, potentially from a chariot accident, which, combined with his poor health and a bout of severe malaria, could have led to a fatal infection. His hurried burial, evidenced by a number of unfinished details in the tomb, supports the idea of an unexpected death. The murder theory persists. Who had the most to gain? I, who immediately married Tut's widow, Ankhesenamun, and claimed the throne, and Horemheb, who eventually succeeded I, were prime suspects. Yet definitive proof remains elusive. The rapid succession and the lack of a proper royal tomb for Tutankhamun suggest a political upheaval immediately following his death.
though it may have been simply the swift actions of ambitious men.
The most sensational element of the discovery was the so-called Curse of Tutankhamun. The story exploded after Lord Carnarvon, Carter's financial backer, died in Cairo just 5 months after the tomb's opening, from blood poisoning following a mosquito bite. The press immediately linked his death to the disturbance of the pharaoh's rest. It was a story too dramatic to resist, a divine punishment for the trespassers. While the curse made for thrilling headlines, reality tells a different tale. Most of the excavation team, including Howard Carter himself, lived for many more years. Carter died 17 years later, having meticulously documented every single artifact. Scientists suggest that any danger came not from a curse, but from microscopic spores or bacteria sealed within the ancient tomb, which could have exacerbated an existing weakness in Carnarvon, who was already in poor health. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb did more than just reveal treasure. It brought the entire civilization of ancient Egypt back to life. It showcased the stunning reality of pharaonic wealth and funerary practice, which had previously only been imagined. The intact nature of the tomb provided an unparalleled time capsule, offering Egyptologists a clear, detailed picture of royal life and death during the New Kingdom, fundamentally changing the world's perception of the boy king. Today, Tutankhamun is one of the most recognized figures from the ancient world. His golden mask has traveled the globe, his story adapted countless times. He was a minor, politically compromised pharaoh in his own time, but his undisturbed burial granted him the immortality he sought. Through the genius of his artisans and the persistence of Howard Carter, Tutankhamun achieved the ultimate Egyptian victory, a secure and everlasting afterlife in the hearts and minds of the modern world. But the mystery is far from over. What other secrets lie hidden beneath the Egyptian sands? Share your thoughts on King Tut's death in the comments below. And if you want to uncover more stories from the ancient world, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next historical journey.